Here we have a new 2024 Honda CR-V. Now this one comes in the EXL trim level. This is a two-wheel drive model, comes in radiant red metallic, and then we have gray leather interior. For the powertrain, we get a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, made it to a CVT. We get 190 horsepower out of that setup. Coming around to the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with LED daytime running lights, so love that look there. It kind of matches all the other Hondas in terms of getting that sleek look. To the wheels here, these are 18-inch alloy. Get passive keyless entry on the front. Memory seat functions are here. One-touch automatic up and down windows on all 4 doors, power door lock controls, and then we do have power mirror controls here. We can offset in the middle, and then we can use the dial when we're on either side. We do have the Honda sensing system, so we do have the blind spot monitors there. Then our lift gate control is there. We do get a manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And there's our 10-way power driver seat with 2-way power lumbar support. Sorry about the glare there. But I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. But before you check out the legroom, big shout out to Darrell Waltrip Honda for allowing me to review this CR-V today. I'll leave a link below in the description. And hopefully y'all can see this. I'll try to leave the window sticker there as well if I can. But this sticker's at 36,440, excuse me. Tint's nice and dark. Let's go ahead and take a look at this leg room real quick. So great room back here. And I even have good headroom as well. I think this seat's tilted a little bit back compared to that one over there, but still impressive space in here. We only have the seat back pocket on this side, but that actually helps with the leg room there. And then we have our rear AC vents, 2 USB-C charge ports. View of the front there. This middle seat folds down. Bottle holders are there. So I'm very impressed again with the space back here. We could probably hang a couple metal hangers, maybe 1 or 2 plastic hangers on that hook there. Let's make our way towards the back. Fuel fillers there, we do get capless. And then to the back in here, I love the styling here, and I think I said this last year. It just looks so modern, so Acura-esque, if you will. There's a look underneath the vehicle itself. You get a dual exhaust there. And then we're gonna lift this power lift gate. And I like how the trunk kind of dips down in here for more space. It's easier to get things in there. You might have to lift a little bit to get out, but no big deal. Spares underneath there, so we don't have to worry about an inflator kit for those who don't like it. And then I also like having this here as well. I think we can take this apart and then you can either use this as a barrier or not. And it's not that deep, but for most of the stuff you want to have back here, nuts and bolts, whatever, you don't need it to be that deep anyway. 12 volts there. And now we're going to go around to the rear passenger side and go ahead and see how these fold down. So we can fold this by pulling the lever here, and when the seat's up far enough, they'll fold flat. And then we have our anchor as well as our tether as well as our anchors here, excuse me. But that is impressive that you can lean this seat back so much. So I like that. And we do have the rear side airbags too. It's a nice touch. Now to the front passenger seat, I think this is just 4-way power for this seat here. So not as adjustable, but still a power front passenger seat. Lockable glove compartment. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood. I wanna take one more look at the front end here. And I actually like this radiant red quite a bit. Just find it very impressive. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the engine bay. And again, that's a 190 horsepower, 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. But next, let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat, take a quick look at the infotainment system. So nice leather wrap steering wheel here. Interesting horn sound, but okay. Now to the screen here, I believe this is a 9-inch screen, so we get FM, XM, AM, as well as Bluetooth audio. We also get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility. I'm going to scroll through everything here. And then in all apps, I'm just going to show you all of that there. For everybody who's curious, just want to show everything. So vehicle settings, you can go in here because this is something that's kind of interesting. You have to go in there, scroll down, and then you can change your units if you want to there. So that took me a minute to find, but I wanted to make sure because people ask me that all the time. So that's where that is again. And I mean, a pretty easy system to use, I think. Everything's where it's supposed to be. It can be with a bigger screen a bit too much, but once you get used to it, you like having all that extra stuff available to you. There's a backup camera, guidelines followed. You turn the steering wheel. Volume knob is here. We can turn the audio off just by hitting the volume button. And then down here, hazards. And this is where you turn your vents either way. I like how they put that kind of mesh screen over it. It makes it look very nice. We do get dual zone automatic climate controllers with 3-stage heated front seats. So we can toggle where the air direction is going, fan speed, or click there to turn the whole system off. Then the auto, we can set that and turn that off by adjusting the fan speed there. And then we can sync, unsync, or we can just adjust the temperature to unsync for that front passenger side. Then we have the defroster with the heated mirrors, front defrost. Down here, USB-A, USB-C port, and that's to run through the radio, but you can charge as well. 12-volt wireless charging pad down there with additional storage. So I like how they did that. You can put your phone on this side, and then if you have another one, you can put that on that side and charge it using that port there. Now we do have the option to go through drive mode. So we have the Econ, normal, and then snow mode, and it'll show you what drive mode you're in on that left-hand side. And then we have our hill descent, downhill brake, auto stop toggle, electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage, and then we have our brake hold there as well. And then to use the shifter, just pull up, reverse, neutral drive. Then you have that sport shift mode, and then you have that low gear. So you use that mostly for towing, just keep the revs a little higher, that limiter. And then bottle holders here. And we do have a pretty good size center console cubby space with a removable tray. But up here, I like that we have the LED lights. We even have the smaller lights here, and then sunglasses holders here. We have a manual sunshade, but our power moonroof goes back that far. Then we can one touch open or shut that, and we can also tilt it if we want to. So I like the controls for that. Makes sense. There's a view of the back from up here. And then back to the steering wheel. Headlamps, blinkers, auto, and then we can toggle the high beams on, flash there. Windshield wiper controls, that's high, low, intermittent, off, and then one time, and then we can control the intermittent there, and then our rear wiper intermittent on, off there, and then we can pull either side to get that rear wiper fluid or pull up for that front wiper fluid. Now to the right side, we have our Honda sensing system, excuse me. So we can turn on the adaptive cruise, go ahead and turn on the lane keeping, and then we can adjust the gap for that as well. And then we can use the cancel to cut off the cruise itself or set that speed there. And then over here, we can go through the track list or radio station presets, volume, and then we also have the home button for this left side of the menu, where we can go through different options there if you want to fool with the system. So if you want to turn off the lane departure, you can do that. And then there's just a lot going on here. So you always want to hit this home button to go back. I always forget to do that, but we can adjust brightness there, range and fuel. That's pretty much what I like to leave it on there. But there's a push button start. Here's the key fob with remote start. And next, let's take this 1.5 turbo CRV out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this CRV, the 1.5 4-cylinder is a very capable engine, I think, for this type of vehicle. And I think that's another reason the EPA figures are so high for something like this, because even though it's a bigger SUV, you can fit everybody in here. When you need the turbocharger, I feel like this actually pushes a bit better in the CRV than the 1.5 4-cylinder in the Chevy Equinox. Even though they're pretty much apples to apples, it's just something about this. I don't know what it is, but this just feels more capable than that 1.5 turbo 4 we get in the Chevy Equinox. I think another thing though is this has a CVT in it as opposed to that Equinox having the 6-speed automatic still. We'll see if Chevy tries to catch up with everybody putting a CVT in an SUV, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And the CVT in here isn't necessarily bad. CVTs leave a bad taste in my mouth for whatever reason. I don't like them. Like, green eggs and ham. But I've driven several vehicles that have CVTs, including I think a 23 CRV, and again, they're not terrible. I just don't prefer them over a traditional 6-speed, 7-speed, 8-speed, even a 10-speed automatic. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm getting cheated out of a driving experience, even in something like this. But again, for most people who are going to be driving something like this, you'll be okay with it. Now I'm going to put it in the sport mode. And that's one place where Honda has one over on the competition, because you have a normal mode, an econ mode, a snow mode, but then you also have the sport shifts as well. But I'm gonna test it getting out on the interstate and see how it does. Got a little bit of space, so I'm gonna use it. And what I think it is the sound acoustics in here are better than the Equinox. And I think that's why it feels like it's not as slow. I don't feel like I'm straining the engine as much getting up to the same speed. And another plus of this is getting that cruise control without having to have an additional package. Just comes standard on this trim level. And then we don't have to opt in for Super Cruise to get lane centering. So, final thoughts on the CRV, specifically this EXL trim. It's a bit expensive, but you're not missing out on anything. You have the sunroof, you have your wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, and I think you have everything you need in a vehicle like this without having to crest over 40 grand. And with that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2024 Honda CR-V EXL.